Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. So, we are continuing the book Lord Chaitanya Teachings by Srila Prabhupada. Currently, we are in the chapter 31, The Supreme Perfection, and page 234. When the pleasure potency is further condensed, it is called Mahabhava. Srimati Radharani, the eternal concept of Krishna, is a personification of that Mahabhava. Rupa Goswami explains this Mahabhava representation in his book Ujjvala Nilamani in the second canto, second sloka. It is stated there that although there were two competitors in love of Krishna, Radharani and Chandravali, still by comparison it appears that Radharani is the best and she is possessed of the Mahabhava Swarupa. Therefore, this Mahabhava Swarupa or personification is applicable to Radharani only and no one else. Mahabhava is full of the pleasure potency and is an exhibition of the highest attitude of love towards Krishna. She is therefore known throughout the world as the most beloved of Krishna, and her name is always associated with Krishna as Radha Krishna. Brahma Samhita also confirms this. Krishna expands himself by his pleasure potency in the spiritual world, and the potencies are all non-different from Krishna in the absolute. Krishna, although is always enjoying the company of his expansions of the pleasure potency, is all-pervading. Therefore, Brahma offers his respectful obeisances to Govinda, the cause of all causes. As Krishna is the highest emblem of spiritual perfection, so Radharani is the highest emblem of the spiritual pleasure potency meant for satisfying Krishna. Krishna is unlimited and so Radharani is also unlimited. For its satisfaction, Krishna is satisfied by seeing Radharani, but Radharani also expands herself in such a way that Krishna still wants to enjoy more. And because Krishna was unable to estimate the pleasure potency of Radharani, he wanted to accept the role of Radharani. That combination is called Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ramananda Roy then began to explain that Radharani is therefore the supreme emblem of the pleasure potency of Krishna, and Radharani expands herself into different forms, known as Lalita Vishaka and her confidential associates. The characteristics of Srimati Radharani are explained by Rupa Goswami in his book Ujjvala Nilamani, and they can be understood as follows. The body of Radharani is an evolution of transcendental pleasure. That body is decorated with flowers and fragrant aromas, complete with a transcendental love for Krishna. That is a personification. That transcendental body takes birth three times: first in the water of mercy, second in the water of useful beauty, and third in the water of youthful luster. After taking birth three times in that way, covered with shining garments and decorated with his personal beauty, which is compared with cosmetics, her beauty being the highest artistry. Her beauty is decorated with ornaments of the ecstasis of spiritual emotion, trembling, tears, checking of the body in transcendental pleasure, stopping of all functions of the body, perspiration, choking of the voice, blood pressure, madness, and stumbling. There are nine symptoms of decorative transcendental pleasure potency. Five are by her expansion of personal beauty, decorated with garlands of flower, and her patient calmness is compared with a covering of clothes cleansed by camphor. Her confidential agony for Krishna is the knot of her hair, and the mark of tilaka on her forehead is her fortune. The healing of Radharani is fixed on Krishna's name and fame eternally. By chewing betel nuts, the lips become reddish. Similarly, the complete attachment of Radharani to Krishna has blackened the border of her eyes. It can be compared to ointment due to the nature choking with Radha and Krishna. Her smiling is just like the taste of camphor. The garland of separation moves on her body when she lies down to the bed of pride within the room of Aruma. Her breast is covered by the blows of anger out of ecstatic affection for Krishna, and a stringed instrument is hers for her reputation of being the best amongst all the girlfriends of Krishna. She puts her hand on the shoulder of his youthful posture. Although she possesses so many transcendental qualities, still she is always engaged in the service of Krishna. Srimati Radharani is decorated with Sudipta Sattvic emotions, which include sometimes tribulation, sometimes pacification. All these transcendental ecstasies are symptoms of the body of Srimati Radharani. Sudipta Sattvic emotion is when a lover is overwhelmed with certain kinds of feelings which he or she cannot check. Radharani has another emotion which is called Kila Kinchita. This Kila Kinchita emotion has 20 different manifestations. Such manifestations are partly due to the body, due to the mind, and due to habit. So far as the bodily emotions are concerned, they are called posture and movement. So far as the emotions of the mind are concerned, they are the exposition of beauty, luster, complexion, mellows, talking, magnanimity, and patience. As far as habitual emotions are concerned, they are pastimes, enjoyment, preparation, forgetfulness. So I will stop here, Prabhu. So in a summary, in these sections, whatever we read today, it is explaining about the pleasure potency of Radharani. So initially, uh, this pleasure potency uh, clearly in the high level explained in a book called Ujjwala Nilamani by Rupa Goswami. The highest attitude of the pleasure potency, nothing but the highest attitude of love towards Krishna, is called Mahabhava. This Mahabhava is full of pleasure potency and is an exhibition of the highest attitude of love towards Krishna. Therefore, it is always associated with Krishna as Radha Krishna. In also in Brahma Samhita also, Brahma offered all his respectful obeisances to Govinda because Krishna is the cause of all causes. In further, as Krishna is the highest emblem of spiritual perfection, so Radharani is the highest emblem of the spiritual pleasure potency meant for satisfying Krishna. The way Krishna expands himself in the spiritual world, similarly Radharani also expand herself different ways to give the pleasure to the Krishna. So in that context, uh, Krishna was unable to estimate the pleasure potency of Radharani because she keep on expanding. But he wanted to accept the role of Radharani, and that combination is called Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And next, and there are different type of symptoms, or maybe like a transcendental activities or symptoms. In order to see this one, uh, this pleasure potency. So there are 9 symptoms of decorative transcendental pleasure potency. 5 are by her expansion of personal beauty, decorated with garlands of flowers, and her patient calmness is compared with a covering of clothes cleansed by camphor, and like the knot of her hair and mark of tilaka, or the confidential agony for Krishna. So similarly, different type of pleasure potencies are explained in this section. And next, finally, Srimati Radharan is decorated with Sudipta Sattvic emotions, which include sometimes tribulation, sometimes pacification. And finally, Radharani has another emotion which is called Kila Kinchita. This Kila Kinchita emotion has 20 different manifestations. As initially we said, like uh, The Radharani is expanding herself in the different forms. So this is one of the emotional Kila Kinchita emotion has 20 different manifestations. So which gives exposition of beauty, luster, complexion, mellow, stalking, magnanimity, and patience. So in this way, the finally the Radharani gives different type of pleasure potencies to Krishna in a spiritual world. Thank you, Prabhu. This is my summary.